All right, welcome everybody to our Fireside chat today. We are super excited at TapClicks here to have StackAdapt on the line with us talking about their solution. We have Vitaly Pecherskiy on the line, the co-founder and COO of StackAdapt. And today we're going to be talking a little bit about their history, where they've come from, where they're going to, and how they're kind of reinventing everything that's going on around programmatic. For everybody who's not intimately aware with StackAdapt yet, shame on you. But if you happen to be, they are the fastest growing ad platform out there with programmatic in mind. So anybody running ads in a programmatic fashion, this is the place to be. This is the conversation you want to be listening to. And hopefully we will have a great effect on your ads going forward. So getting
Kevin,
into
thanks so much for having me and for TapClicks team to organize this.
Yeah, of course. Super excited to talk to you. So as the co-founder, I'm sure you have some amazing stories about how this all came together. Can you give me just a little bit of a background on StackAdapt, kind of where the inspiration came from, and maybe some of the perspiration along the way as you guys started to build the company from the ground up?
Yeah, well, it's been an incredible journey. So myself, I got into programmatic advertising about just over 10 years ago. So I joined a small startup that was one of the first partners of Facebook. So they accessed Facebook advertising through Ads API. And back then, Facebook didn't have any web platform to really buy ads very well.
Right.
So that was the right place at the right time. And
well, you could still buy likes at that time, right? That was way back in the day.
oh yeah, likes was, you know what? I totally forgot about that. But yeah, buying likes, that was a big thing back then.
It was a big thing.
But for us, I think that our entire business at that point, so the company I was working for, that was all about mobile, actually not even mobile gaming, that was desktop gaming on social media. So all kinds of like building farms and
yes,
playing
that's
all
right.
kinds of RPG games. And then that evolved
Farmville,
all into
right? Wasn't that the name of the
mobile.
game?
Sorry?
Farmville, wasn't that the name of the game that was super
Yeah,
popular?
it was huge. It was huge back
Yeah.
then. But I remember in 2010, we were at a conference and we were like, there was like a small stand for mobile gaming. And we're like, mobile gaming? How can you play mobile games very well? Like it's all about desktop.
Right.
And who knew mobile? It's all about mobile now. But for me, starting StackAdapt was pretty organic in the sense that once that company got acquired, I went on to work at one of the holdcos, and I met my co-founder, Ildar, who is the CEO. So two of us, we were pretty dissatisfied with and just unimpressed with the tool sets that we had to use. So for us, it was pretty obvious that the market needed a new generation platform. So once I met Yang, so three of us, we basically started learning more about the market and thinking of that first minimal viable product. And about 8 months later, we went to market with the idea of StackAdapt. And the idea back then was about native advertising. So we thought, well, social media is doing a great job monetizing their inventory through these integrated mobile-first ad units. But the open web for an average publisher, they didn't have technology to do that, to transact it on an impression by impression basis. So I remember very well, we talked about it, and Yang, who leads our engineering data science, so he came back, we're at the bar, and he just whipped up his laptop and he's like, let me show you, I think it can be done. And we're like, okay. So we put up a landing page, basically explaining the concept. And a couple of weeks later, one of just inbound client came in, and we put together a minimal viable product for them, and sort of the rest is history. But StackAdapt was born out of personal pain for having to deal with very complex software. We envisioned a platform that's going to be a lot more automated, that's going to be a lot more focused on results, but truth be told, even what we conceptualized back in 2014 to where we are now, it's so much bigger, it's so much broader. We don't do just native advertising. It's still a good part of our business, but at this point, we've evolved into just a big platform that supports so many more capabilities. So it's been a fun ride so far, looking to the next 8 years.
So as fastest growing, right, as you guys continue to expand into new markets, new customers, et cetera, performance metrics continue to get fuzzy, maybe, or just diverse. Maybe diverse is a better word for it. Every customer has a different performance metric that they're going after, a different definition. As you guys are looking at that and talking about how you get better performance out of campaigns, are you also building in that, hey, different people, different engagement metrics are being used now than they were, when you guys first started? Are you seeing kind of a move in that direction?
Yeah, I mean, the value proposition in 2014 when we went to market was native ads get 10 times click-through rate that of display ads, because
right.
It's delivered in feed, so people click naturally more on native ads. So it's cheaper to get people to the website. And at that time, we aligned ourselves closer to the content marketing industry. But pretty quickly after that, it became apparent that, at the end of the day, it's great if people read your content, but are they actually buying your product?
Right.
And since pretty early days, we started really thinking about, well, what are those metrics that people really care about in different industries? And try to think of how we can impact those metrics for different industries. Obviously, the rabbit hole goes so deep because even in one industry, there's so many sub-segments of, even if you think travel, you can have airlines and destination travel and cruises and attractions, and every single one of them thinks about success differently. Maybe it's a visit to attraction park, or maybe that's a purchase of a ticket for a plane, or how do you measure a person actually visiting a state? All of these questions are really tough to answer. Right. And the way we think about our business is that we're trying to build out vertical solutions for individual industries and really try to align what product does around the expectations of our clients. And that might vary differently depending on the industry that they operate in. But I think one thing that we've learned over the years is that, for us, obviously building a product, that never stops. But I think what we're discovering is that there's such big value in not just selling software and saying, hey, here's a piece of software, you can use it however you want. Marketers in any industry use it, but really think about the implementation of software, how all these pieces come together in our industry, and advertising really matters. It's as a platform, we're very much focused on reaching the relevant user at the right time. But what is the messaging that we're reaching the user with? What is the experience that they're interacting with once they come to the website? How do clients help explain the value proposition of their product, or support, help actual transaction? All of that end-to-end experience, it really matters, and putting it together is very, very hard. So we as a company, obviously, we tackle only a small piece of it, but we're continuously thinking of how we can support clients beyond our software to make that end-to-end experience just that much more optimized and in a way that actually works for them.
Yeah. So as you guys are re-envisioning kind of performance metrics, you're also kind of, as we like to say in marketing, we have an acronym for everything, right? Everything has an acronym soup. But you guys are re-envisioning what DSP actually means and stands for in the future and going forward, right? We know demand side platforms, or we think we know them. We think we've categorized them, but you guys continue to break out of that mold. How are you describing your kind of vision of demand side platform now?
So I would say it kind of relates to what I was explaining now, is that, the way we think about the DSP market, and that's why perhaps we don't like calling ourselves DSP. Demand side platform is a good way to describe where we fit into the value chain. But to us, a demand side platform almost implies a complex tool where the expectation is on the user to figure out how to use it in a way that would work for them. You have massive amount of ad inventory that you have to somehow seep through to find websites or just countless data segments that you try to A/B test to find segments that work for you. The expectation is on the user to make sense out of this complex technology. We try to think of ourselves as more of a solution where we try to ask, well, what is the end goal for our clients, and how can we get them there with least amount of friction? So we really think of ourselves more of a solution versus a tool. But a DSP is an easy way to explain to somebody where we fit into the value chain, and that's why sometimes we interchangeably use that name. But we just call ourselves programmatic advertising platform.
So you mentioned a couple different things that were really interesting. Number one, your mission and goal from the outset was to solve the pain points of the marketing industry, the fragmentation, the time and effort it was required to get to the inventory that you wanted. And you also mentioned the channelization of the different things that you do, putting it into categories with preset definitions or at least flexible definitions of what performance metrics could be or should be for those. All of those seem like it's really helping the user to be able to come in a comfortable way, in an easy way, to find what they're looking for and settle into whatever that normal looks like for them, right? So if you have the hotel industry or the travel industry, hospitality, it sounds like you guys have created kind of channels or things for that already. So somebody can come in and say, oh, they're speaking my language. This is my ecosystem, and I can now start to work within this environment. Is that kind of where you guys are going with it?
Yeah, we think absolutely. We don't want our clients to invest that time, all this time, like trying to understand how the software will solve their problems. That's our job. Absolutely. And when we think about our product, at the end of the day, the reason our product is shaping differently than other companies is because I think we're actually selling into a different type of marketer, into a different type of market that's rapidly expanding. And I think if anything, COVID only accelerated the rise of this market. We call it the modern marketer. It's not necessarily the type of organization, it's more a user who is, in marketing, everybody's so busy all the time, but what they're busy with is, I would say, defines if that's the right user for us. A lot of other platforms, they're selling into specialists where these companies have dedicated teams to manage specific platforms, basically the entire day. Our customers typically juggle multiple platforms. They advertise on social, on search. They use multiple DSPs. So for them, their expectation is to be able to get their work done as efficiently as possible. So they may only have, say, an hour a day to spend on StackAdapt. So they need to be able to not spend their whole day optimizing campaigns. They need to be able to get campaigns up and running in no time. And they need to rely on us to be able to handle all the heavy lifting with optimization using whatever techniques we use. In our case, it's machine learning because we find it's just the most scalable way of doing it. I'm losing train of thought.
No, it's good. So not only are you guys making it easier for agencies and advertisers to come on and use the platform and more comfortable because you're kind of speaking their language, but you touched on the machine learning, the mechanics of the optimization piece. So in that piece often sucks up more of the advertiser's time and energy than even the initial setup of the campaign. Trying to find out where those nuggets are to find the good inventory or the good frequency count or the proper performing creative or whatnot. Can you talk a little bit about how you guys are helping advertisers get smarter about their campaigns?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, nobody knows our technology better than our team. So without a doubt, like that's where we think we can deliver the most value, is just helping our clients understand how different capabilities on the platform work together or individually, and where they can expect, which capabilities they can expect to work better or specifically for them, for example. It's pretty safe to say, considering how much data is out there, for the most cases, machine learning will do a better job optimizing based on just a vast amount of data that's available for optimization. But I think it opens a lot of opportunities for marketers to focus on things that maybe they have historically kind of neglected. One comes to mind is creative. Using automatically generating creative is very difficult, and you can obviously permute it. Like, for example, if you have a native ad that's comprised of image, headline, body text, you can mix and match them and optimize towards, for example, a version that works better than the other, for example, 9 or 27 or whatever number of ads you have. But I think in those cases, it's almost oftentimes incremental improvement. I think the big change, or like the big lift in performance when it comes to creative, comes from just a very deep understanding of customer pain points and how your product solves them. And that's something that's really hard to just press a button and expect to generate an output that would be so relevant for the customer. So I think that's an area that we as a company invest in for our brand. And I think that's something we want to teach more of our customers on how to do this as well. So that's an area that's outside of our technology that I think has a huge value for our customers when using our product.
Yeah. So even if you have 27 permutations of a bad ad, you still have a bad ad, right? If you get good copy, then that makes a ton of difference. That's very interesting.
Exactly. And I think it's pretty safe to say that, at least from what we've seen, is that most companies don't have a very clear understanding of their customer. They may have some high level demographic information, but in most cases it's very surface level, and that surface level information, if you're targeting men 24 to 34 living in cities, everything that you produce is going to feel so generic. And I think the big opportunity is aligning creative with hyper relevant targeting of a programmatic platform like ours, how it comes together. That's where magic is. And I think we want to unlock that for our customers.
In terms of your focus, programmatic is such a wide ranging name. Are there specific categories that you guys have better penetration into from an inventory standpoint or from a performance standpoint? We did mention hospitality. Is that something that you guys tend to do better in or have better inventory on than other categories, or where's your focus?
I mean, travel was huge until
it wasn't
until March 2020, but it's bounced back a lot for sure. But I would say I wouldn't say there are any specific surprises. It's financial services, retail, CPG, commerce, healthcare. It's natural to be over-indexing in segments that are just huge, right? Like for us, even though we have physical presence in UK and Singapore and Australia, our North American business is huge because the market here is really, really big.
Have you seen, speaking of COVID, have you seen any changes in consumption behaviors, time of day, those kind of things, as people are at home more, working from home more than pre-COVID? Are there any kind of trends that you guys are seeing that would help advertisers?
I'm sure my team has a better grasp on it. From my perspective, it was easier to keep track of it maybe a year ago when everybody was on the same page. But now, because things change so rapidly, it became really hard for me, at least, to track and how things are changing. It seems like now in going into November 2021, it feels like in North America, at least, a lot of things have opened back up. I haven't really checked some of these numbers recently, so I don't know, but it feels like it's coming back to where it was before. But now it seems like there's challenges with supply chain. There's concerns about inflation. So I think whatever I'm guessing now, whenever people are listening to this, or even a couple months into 2022, I'm sure things will change very rapidly. Like, we're just operating in a world where things changing so quickly.
But that's
the name of the game.
Yeah, for sure. Some of the evergreen topics that you touched on, though, are relevant regardless of what else is going around, right? We're always needing something that makes our lives more efficient and effective from an advertising standpoint, because we're always going to be asked to do more with less. That's been the case for the last 10, 15 years, right? Especially as digital has accelerated that, people are being asked to do more. That's why solutions like StackAdapt are so important to advertisers, because it allows them to hit that scale that they're looking for with the optimization built in, with the targeting and all those other kind of pieces. I think that with your focus on making it easier for advertisers, that's going to just perpetually drive you guys forward. That's really, really encouraging.
Yeah. And, never really stopping to build, because it's not just programmatic industry, it's internet as a whole. Just things are changing so rapidly. And, to give you an example, for example, connected TV as a channel, haven't really heard much about it until a couple of years ago. Something that we started playing in just in 2019, and now it's one of the strongest pillars of our business.
Sure.
And the only reason why we were able to do that is because we throw so many resources at chasing opportunities like that: connected TV, contextual advertising, creative, and so many more directions. That's the only way to remain relevant, is just to continue finding these pockets of opportunities for customers that they value, that where they want to operate, and just being able to support them.
Yeah, continually innovating and staying kind of one step ahead of the market. That's the key to the game, huh?
Yeah, I think so.
So looking forward, without giving away too much, obviously, but new avenues you guys are pursuing, more mobile inventory, more focus on mobile. I know 5G is out there for a lot of people. Are you seeing any kind of trends that you guys are focusing more on, or the advertisers are moving towards?
So personally, I haven't heard much about 5G specifically. Maybe somebody on my team is already thinking about this. I hope so. And but from my perspective, the big opportunity is in what we discussed already. It's a creative, it's connected TV, and contextual advertising. So contextual advertising is very interesting because it's been around for so long, but the definition of contextual advertising is so broad that I think it was overlooked for years. And we're finding that it can actually be a very powerful strategy for marketers, because with audience-based advertising, it's powerful without a doubt. And the promise of audience-based advertising is awesome. A user went, for example, to your website and they haven't completed a purchase and you want to retarget them to come back. That's great. But what if they're just browsing the web on their way to work? Are they actually going to complete the purchase, right? It's really hard to find that moment when they actually are in the moment of purchase decision. With contextual advertising, if it's sophisticated enough, you can actually be on those pages when they read specific reviews about your product, read about competitors. And that's exactly where we see though this contextual advertising performed really well is in tandem with audience buying, but really focused on these like moment when they actually searching for a specific solution.
High intent moments.
Yeah. I should put this on the website.
Yeah, very, very interesting.
High intent moments. Hopefully you didn't trademark this just now.
Quick, go on to GoDaddy.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Exactly. So for us, we launched our kind of flagship technology, Page Context AI, back in January, and it's become sort of one of our main pillars of our growth this year, where a lot of it opened up opportunities in areas where privacy laws are pretty strict. It opened opportunities in segments where data privacy is very important, like healthcare, for example.
Sure.
And now we're actually working on something really cool, which I'm not going to share now.
Okay.
Expanding on this technology. We should see it live in the next couple of months. And we think that that's going to be our next game changer for 2022.
That sounds like a cliffhanger. We're going to have you back on, and when you guys are ready to reveal that to everybody. Perfect. Well, this was so cool to get the backstory from, sitting at the bar with two other guys and understanding the pain points to where you guys are now. It's been a remarkable journey, and we're so excited to see where you guys are going in the future with this. So, Vitaly, thank you so much for coming on and sharing with us. I think just understand that progression that you guys are really focused on ease of use for consumers and advertisers and brands, and understanding their pain points is really key, because it personalizes something that's very impersonal, right? A solution or a platform is inherently impersonal, and you guys have brought it to a level of ease and comfort for people to use and come on board with. So we encourage everybody to go check out StackAdapt.
Kevin, thanks so much for having me. It's great chatting with you.
Of course.
And obviously it's been just a pleasure working with the whole TapClicks team. So
great.
Thanks so much for having me.
Of course. We look forward to great things in the future. Thanks.